Yeah, hi there. These comments are for Shefali, and I am Michael Buckoff, the founder, owner, and the materials writer for all of your lessons at the 7-Step System to Pass the Toefl iBT. And you, Shefali, you made some comments over my website, and you're wanting to improve your speaking score. You want to get up to 26 points out of 30. So let's take a look at what you say here. You say, hello Michael, I'm giving my exam on this coming Saturday. First of all, this is a word choice issue here. I would change the word giving to taking. That's one of my tips right now, is try to avoid any word choice problems during the speaking section. That does have an impact on your overall score. And in this case, you don't really have to say on here. You can just say, I'm taking my exam this coming Saturday. And we typically capitalize days of the week. Now, if you want to say on, you can say, I'm taking my exam on January 10th, 2015. You say, I need a score of 90 for my university. My weak point is speaking. I would just say speaking here. I want to score up to 25. Please help me. Alright. So to give you some ideas here, and to be honest with you, to get 26, I think that you told me your English skills are intermediate right now. So you probably need to be advanced. And even when you're advanced in your English speaking abilities, it's probably still going to take you a while before you can reach that goal. So probably for tomorrow, it's going to be tough. And I'll be honest with you, you might not be able to reach your goal tomorrow. And if you don't, please consider me as your online TOEFL course. Now, what I want to talk about right now is the type of TOEFL iBT speaking practice that you can do over an extended period of time in order to get the results you seek. So first of all, in order to get a high score in the speaking, you have to be familiar and be comfortable with speaking about reading and listening passages. So my first tip is simple, is start reading for about 45 minutes every day. You can read magazines, newspapers, and longer books. Number 2, get in the habit of practicing listening every day for about 45 minutes. You can focus on news, documentary, science, and maybe even history programs. Now, in both cases, you want to start practicing your note-taking. You have to get familiar with the main and the most important supporting points of the reading and the listening passages. Then, using your notes, Shefali, you can practice speaking about this information. Now, it's very important that you record your voice. You want to make dozens and dozens and dozens, maybe even hundreds of recordings, so that you get more used to speaking about things in English, and then you can record your voice, and then you can monitor. You can monitor your recording in 3 specific areas. You can pay attention to your delivery. You can focus on how you speak. That means that you want to pay attention to your intonation. You can pay attention to your word stress. You can pay attention to your thought groups and blending, making sure you're not pausing too much. So that can be very helpful. Now be patient, because as you start taking notes on the reading and the listening passages, in the beginning your notes may not be that complete. They might not even be that accurate. But if you practice for a few months, you will definitely get better at doing this. Alright, so that's really one of my first suggestions, is to start reading and practicing listening and then speaking about this information. My suggestion is to make maybe 3 to 5 60-second recordings each week on your own, so that you can start listening to those recordings. You'd be surprised, Shefali, of how many students they'll actually take the TOEFL iBT exam without having made any voice recordings before taking the TOEFL exam. Of course, it's very tough to get that high speaking score if you haven't done that. Now, for your listening materials, you're choosing these materials. You're choosing what you want to read. You're choosing what you want to listen to. And with the listening materials, you can focus, I think I already told you, on news programs, science programs, history, documentary. Now, if you don't have English TV, you can also use the internet. There's 3 good websites I recommend that are very helpful with your speaking and your listening and your reading and so on. But it would be Randall's Cyber Listening Lab, number 1. You can also go to National Public Radio, number 2. And number 3 is TED Talks. Alright, so the important thing here is you're getting used to reading and listening and then speaking about information. Now, in addition to doing this, you can also join, I highly recommend that you join my online Toefl course. You know, it's called the 7-Step System to Pass the Toefl iBT. And in the speaking and the pronunciation sections of my course, you can start posting speaking and pronunciation practice tests online. I actually have, Shafali, I have a Voxy Pop discussion group on the internet, and this is where my students will post their pronunciation and speaking practice tests. So here's how it works. You go online to my online course, you will watch a video or you will answer an independent or integrated speaking task type question. So then you will answer it by posting your recording online, after which the next day I will listen to and comment on your recording, even giving you a score. So then in the audio comments, I will actually give you some suggestions of things that you can do to improve your delivery, your language use, and your topic development. Remember, Shafala, that each student is different. As you post speaking practice tests, then I become more familiar with the kinds of pronunciation problems that you might be having. For example, maybe you're having problems with intonation, maybe not, but maybe. Maybe you might be having some problems with thought groups and blending. You might be pausing too much, or you might not be blending certain words within thought groups and so on. So then after you've posted your recording, I will give you some audio comments telling you what your specific problems are. I will also tell you how you can improve in those areas and which specific lessons in my online Toefl course you can actually study in order to improve your weaknesses. So that's kind of how it works. You post a practice test, you get some feedback from me, I'll recommend some things you can do to get better, you will study those lessons, keeping those things in mind, you will repost another practice test, I give you more feedback, more comments, and so on, and there it goes. So it usually takes students, even if at your level right now, if you're intermediate level in your speaking abilities, you're probably looking at several months of practice before you can get a score of 26 out of 30. That's a pretty high score. You got to be realistic here. It's not something that comes easily. It does take some practice, but you can do it. So anyway, for tomorrow, you are taking the Toefl exam, so I want to wish you good luck, and hopefully you'll feel confident, you'll get the score that you need. And during the speaking section of the test tomorrow, if I give you some advice right now, one of the most important things you can do is to make sure that you directly and explicitly answer the question. Right? So you'll have some independent speaking topics, you'll have some integrated speaking topics, and the questions will be very specific. So you want, and it's possible that some questions may have 1 or 2 or maybe even 3 parts to them, and you want to make sure you answer all parts to the question. That's probably one of the most important pieces of advice I can give you, is to make sure that you directly answer the question. Now, another piece of advice I can give you for the speaking tomorrow is this. It's important that you connect. You make sure there's a connection between the different ideas in your speaking response. That means you can think about your speaking response as having an introduction. You can think about it as having a body, and then maybe even if you have time, a conclusion. So everything needs to be connected. The third piece of advice I can give you is, as you give details, make the details as specific as possible, especially during the independent speaking task. Try to give personal, specific examples to help support your ideas. Make sure that you don't talk about too many different reasons, because every time you bring up a reason, then you need to give more specific details for those reasons. So try to be very focused and be very specific in your responses, and hopefully you'll get the score that you seek. Now, if you don't reach your goal tomorrow, again, like I said in the beginning of the video, please consider my online TOEFL course as a great way for you to improve your speaking and all the other areas important to your academic English language proficiency. All right, so Shafali, good luck tomorrow, and all the best to your high-scoring TOEFL success.